What's up, Vinyl Community? It's Jason coming at you from the Jazz Basement. Hope you're having a good night. Just wanted to share some recent finds with you. Still coming down from that last mega haul a couple of weeks ago. It's been pretty incredible. On top of that, I've been making some changes to my audio system, which you can see behind me. Some new speakers and a new to me turntable from 1955. It's a Garrard 301. A new audio rack as well. So slightly different look behind me. Still great enjoyment out of the music. It's certainly leveled up a bit. But wanted to share some recent finds with you. Some pretty incredible stuff here. So right off the bat, highlight this one. Art Blakey, The Big Beat. This is an original mono press. West 47th Street address, super clean, deep groove on both sides. I had a copy of this, a stereo copy of this, probably about a year ago. Really enjoyed it, traded it to someone, but I really missed this session. This is a really high tempo session. I have a soft spot for Art Blakey in general, and the Jazz Messengers, and this was one of the sessions that, after I had traded the that record away, I was like, oh man, I shouldn't have done that. But had the opportunity to pick this up through a friend through Instagram, who reached out. Again, building connections is great, and super clean. It's a mono copy, 1960, I believe. It's just a really nice high tempo recording. It's recorded hot, so comes through nice and loud. And this is just, you can see, the spirit of the session right there in the photo. Which also, if you look over my shoulder, I have, let's see, is it? I guess it's this one here. Is actually a print of the original photo, which is pretty cool from Mosaic Images. Next up is an interesting one. This is an upgrade copy for me. I had a Tone Poet originally. Then I had a second pressing, and then I had obtained a first mono press. And before that record could get to me, I was in a local shop and came across this next record, which was in the shrink, looked unplayed, for a very reasonable price. So I jumped on this one, which is Lee Morgan Cornbread. And you can see that this is extremely, extremely clean. It's on the New York USA labels. There's no Plastic Light P. There's no ear on this. This is a Liberty press from 1966. But Lee Morgan, Jackie McLean, Hank Mobley, Herbie Hancock, Larry Ridley, and Billy Higgins. That is a no-lose lineup. This is a no-lose session. Easily one of the top 5 Lee Morgan sessions that I have. And with that lineup, that's hard to lose. This is a Tone Poet. I haven't seen it around in a couple of years. But you do find these. Typically, they have really, really bad ring wear. But as you can see with this one, this is basically as brand new as you could possibly get. Get the nice monorail right there as well. Next up, I got this from HR a couple weeks ago. Was just kind of sitting up there on the wall. It was kind of a lull, I would say, for them. That's kind of the trajectory that they have, is they'll get a lot of really great stuff in, and then it might go a couple weeks, couple months where it's kind of dry. They've been in a big spell where they found a lot of stuff, and a lot of stuff that I haven't gone after. Obviously, I have some big stuff from them that I've gotten recently, but there's been similar level of heat that's gone through that I just haven't pursued for a number of reasons. But this one was up there for a while, and I wasn't that familiar with the session. But I do love Freddie Hubbard. one of my favorite musicians. In terms of his musicality, I love hub tones a lot. But trumpet, Freddie Hubbard's right there for me, right up there with Lee Morgan. So this is an original mono press of Blue Spirits, which you can see slight discoloration at the top, but real moody, kind of bluesy session. So I've only spun it once. Sounds great. Don't really have a deep impression of this one yet, to be honest. But I don't have a huge Freddie Hubbard collection. I do have hub tones, which is one of my favorite top 10 sessions period, and that goes back to my college days. But you don't see as much of that kind of blue chip Freddie Hubbard stuff. So whenever I can, I try and jump on it. This next one was actually another, I guess, the other record that I had picked up from HR when I was, where I picked up Quiet Kenny and Cliff Craft and a few of the other really, really heavy hitters from that one collection. This is another one that I was not that familiar with. It was on my radar, and you never really see it all that much. But it's one that I had recognized the cover, certainly recognized the name, and I didn't have any of his work any of his solo work, at least in my collection. So this is one that I absolutely jumped on, and it's the Ray Bryant Trio. On New Jazz, it's just piano, 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 piano. I think 5 times. I think it's like 12 times here. But what a great cover that is. This is actually not an original press. The original press was on Prestige with the West 50th Fireworks label. This is on New Jazz, so it's got the double deep groove purple label here. It's just a jazz trio, a piano trio, just a classic trio. You got Ray Bryant on the piano, Ike Isaac's on bass, not familiar with him, and then Specs Wright on drums. So pretty killer collection. It's also a promo copy, or promo stamped. At least there's nothing denoting promo on here. So tough find, killer cover, great session. Again, happy to have that in the collection. The next 3 I picked up in the last 24 hours from a store that I frequent quite a bit, Record Exchange of Silver Spring. Shout out to Sheila and Brian. If you're watching this, Sheila mentioned yesterday that she found my YouTube channel and watched. So I hope she sees this one. But they've been a great source of jazz for me. Very fair prices. And they bring some heat in. So picked this up today, actually. And this was a little bit of a blind buy. But based on my experience from Cliffcraft, I couldn't pass it up. So this is Spellbound by the Clifford Jordan Quartet. It's on Riverside. It's a Cannonball Adderley presentation. So I'm not sure, that might have been a special series. But what was crazy about this is it's super clean on the jacket. So that looks promising. And then when I went to inspect the record, this was the inner sleeve. It looks like, I guess for those of you that are in the US, like if you've had Ritz crackers, that kind of, I don't know what this is, cellophane, wax paper, whatever it is. But it looked like it had been unplayed. This is about as new as you can see. There's a couple of creases where the record's been. And I looked at the record, pulled it out, and it looks just immaculate. I haven't cleaned this yet. I don't even think it needs to be cleaned. But there is not a speck of dirt, dust, scratch, sneeze marks, anything. Double deep groove, kind of like a flat edge finish to this. I believe it came out in 1960. But boy, what a great pickup. I haven't listened to it. Clifford Jordan, tenor sax, pretty incredible. Cliffcraft was amazing. I've been spinning that thing nonstop. And that was the only Clifford Jordan that I had. So to be able to add this was reasonably affordable, and it's in pristine shape. Next two are just mind blowing. This next one was an artist. If you remember last year, I think it was a jazz vinyl tag. It was like, what's the one artist that you want to get or that's underrepresented? It was Kenny Dorham. I didn't have any Kenny Dorham 18 months ago. Now I have Una Mas, I have Quiet Kenny. And this year, 2022, in the back of my mind, I wanted to get some Horace Parlan. And his stuff's become really, really hard to find. And what really sucked me in was actually a Stanley Turrentine album called Lookout, which was basically Stanley Turrentine with Horace Parlan, George Tucker, and Al Harewood, which is sort of the Horace Parlan trio, for lack of a better word. So you take that core trio, and then you add Stanley Turrentine. It was a beautiful album. Don't hear it talked about that much, but boy, incredible. Now, most of you will know Horace Parlan and George Tucker and Al Harewood from Us Three, which is a very hard album to find, which was heavily influenced by a 90s, I don't know what you would call it, jazz hip hop, trip hop. I don't know what the proper classification for it was, but in the 90s it was pretty heavily sampled. Anyway, long story short, I picked this up and down, Horace Parlan, stereo copy, New York, USA. It does not have the ear, so it's not an original 1963 press. It's a 1966 press, but it's super clean, and I am super happy to have this in any format. So was I a little bummed that it wasn't an original press? Honestly, I really wasn't, because it's immaculate. I mean, I can't tell you how lucky I've been. Pretty much everything that I've picked up in the last 3 months, for whatever reason, the local stores, the local shops have just gotten in these incredible collections. They're all well taken care of. They're all super clean. I mean, there's no splits, no seams, no scuffs, anything on the covers. The wax is like maybe a little dusty, because it hasn't been played in forever. That's fine. I'll run it through my ultrasonic. But anyway, so you have Horace Parlan, George Tucker, Al Harewood. You throw in Booker Ervin on the sax. You throw in Grant Green on the guitar. This is a killer album. This absolutely needs to be a tone poet or something along those lines. It's good. It's really good. I've been spun it a bunch last night. And then the last one is an upgrade copy. Very fortunate. About a year ago, I picked up a copy of this. The cover was a little beat. The wax was pretty clean. And it was one of those ones where you're just like, you're not going to find this in the wild again. And then lo and behold, today I did. Again at Record Exchange of Silver Spring. Walked in the shop this morning and they posted it. I was there yesterday picking up Horace Parlan. But without further ado, Donald Byrd, Bird in Flight. This is an original mono press. Again, I had an original mono press before that's going to a good friend in the South. We brokered a deal not too long ago, but this is an unbelievable session. Also available on a tone pour, or at least it was. Super clean jacket, both ways. What's cool about this is you have obviously Donald Byrd, but then Hank Mobley and Duke Pearson play on one side of the piano, and then on the other side you have Jackie McLean on sax with Duke Pearson. And this is a Donald Byrd record, really, but Duke Pearson's playing is off the charts. it's just so good. I was listening to this afternoon. Just the side A, and as much as I gravitate, my ears gravitate towards the horns, I couldn't help but just listen to the beautiful tone and the beautiful playing of the piano. So Duke Pearson, probably someone I'm going to try and seek out some additional work. Not easy to find, certainly, but I'm going to try my best. So this came out in 1960. And what's interesting about this, so fun little factoid, so it's Blue Note 4048. Around 4050 is when Blue Note switched to printed inner sleeves. So prior to Blue Note 4050, they just came on plain paper. And you can see, actually, in this case, they wrote, Blue Note 4048. But again, this looks brand new. Unbelievable. There's no creases. There's no yellowing. So you just know that's been stuck in the cardboard for a long, long time. The wax itself. I mean, nice gloss. Just beautiful. Deep groove on both sides. RVG, ear. I mean, killer stuff. Just super lucky. Pinching myself. This did not come cheap. It was a fair price, but it's super clean. And that's just kind of my MO. I think from here on out is remain selective. Really focus. I'd rather have one really clean album and if that costs more money than having two kind of semi-clean albums, I'm happy to make that trade-off. So that's kind of where I'm at. Just want to have stuff that's as clean as possible. When I first started out, I'd kind of, not that I would take anything in any condition, but I didn't care too much about seam splits and if the cover was ripped or if it had writing on it. And I don't know, writing doesn't really bother me all that much anymore now. But once you start getting stuff where it's like the cornbread or something like this, you're like, man, that thing is, pretty much perfect. It's hard to accept anything less. And the problem is, this stuff doesn't, stuff in this condition isn't easy to come by. That record's not, Bird and Flight's not easy to come by in any condition. So, anyway, that's just my thoughts on that. But hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks again. And I'll be listening to a lot of music with some of the upgrades in the audio system. I'll do a system tour here shortly in the next couple of weeks when I get a second. I've gotten a few comments on that where people are interested. Excuse my voice. I don't know what's going on. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. And until next time, have a good one.